for our generation, preaching the gospel, unlike previous practices such as Sabbath or silence and solitude or simplicity, is an emotionally loaded idea for a lot of us. On one hand, we came of age in a secular culture where postmodern moral relativism has penetrated deep into the nervous system of the West, and ideas like speak your truth, or which does not even make sense in grammar, or you do you, or who am I to judge, have become cliche. It feels, not at a rational level, but at an emotional level, it feels immoral to preach the gospel to a pluralistic culture where one of the highest moral values is tolerance. Never mind that all around us, people are preaching other gospels constantly. The gospel of upward mobility, or careerism, or science, or sexual identity, or gender identity, or political identity, or postmodern gender theory, or you fill in the blank. Not just preaching, but working hard to legislate in Salem or DC and shove down the throat of any who dare to disagree with a potent mix of shame, fear, and legal fiat. On the other hand, we also came of age in a global reckoning over racial injustice. As a church, we do not identify as evangelical. That word, in my opinion, has lost all positive meaning in our culture, and it's not a word used by Jesus or the writers of the New Testament or really anywhere in church history until very recently. And our loyalty isn't to a word that's not even in the Bible, it's to Jesus as Lord. But we come out of the evangelical tradition as a church. I grew up in that. And most church historians argue that evangelicalism's great contribution to church history is its emphasis on evangelism, hence the name, and the great missionary movement of the 18th and 19th centuries. But that move of God, and it was a move of God, was so tarnished by its connections with colonialism that it's become almost a pariah for our generation. Then you have the post-World War II kind of distortion of the gospel as a kind of ticket to heaven. What Bonhoeffer called cheap grace is what I grew up in, the kind of knock, knock, knock. Hi, if you were to die tonight, which is maybe not the best lead-in to like a neighbor relationship. Let's start with apple pie or something, not hell, you know? Add to that the resulting, or I will never forget when I was a kid, walking along the sidewalk, and there was a $100 bill that somebody left, and I was so excited, and I picked it up, and it was fake. It was actually a tract with the 4 spiritual laws inside. I thought, that is just so not Jesus. Well, he wasn't into money, so maybe that is Jesus-y. I don't know. Add to that the resulting rise of the megachurch movement, and the proliferation of a kind of self-helpy, for the most part, shallow Christian spirituality. And for a lot of us, the idea of preaching the gospel, or God forbid we call it evangelism, is, in West Coast language, a trigger. A lot of us are just emotionally, no, I don't know. Last year, I was having trouble breathing, and I found out, went to the doctor, and I'm like, is this a panic attack? What is going on with me? I can't breathe. I got really scared. And I found out that I'm allergic to cedar and alder trees. Meaning I'm allergic to Oregon. Not helpful. And I thought, this is so messed up. How can I be allergic to something so good and beautiful? But a lot of us are emotionally allergic to the gospel of Jesus, or to the idea of preaching the gospel of Jesus. We prefer to just kind of put our head down and follow Jesus in private, not in public, or maybe post something on Instagram but not say something in person at all to our coworkers, or just mow the neighbor's lawn and hope they figure out that Jesus is Lord of the universe. Just edge really good on the side, you know. And guess what? Jesus is no stranger to that feeling. Don't beat yourself up if you feel that way. A lot of what you're reacting against is really messed up, and it's my entire teaching for next week. He too came from a tradition, Jesus did, with a checkered past of evangelism. Listen to his very intense rebuke of religious conservatives in his day. Matthew 23, you hypocrites, you travel over land and sea to win a single convert, and when you have succeeded, you make them twice as much a child of hell as you are. Jesus said that. Not an angsty Instagram or deconstructing their faith / garnering likes along the way. Jesus. And yet, all 4 Gospels end with a call from Jesus to his disciples, you and me, to preach the gospel. We read Matthew last week. Go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. Or here's Mark. Go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. Or listen to Luke's 2-volume gospel. You will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth. Then we have John's version. As the Father has sent me, I am sending you. 4 different ways of saying the exact same thing. Go. Preach the gospel, spread the message of Jesus.